Despair by Your Uncle Funkle. As Fluttershy filled up her mug for at least the third time, maybe fourth, and went to sit at her table, the weight of her hooves grew with every step. She sat down slouched in one of the chairs that were set up there and let her hooves fall with the invisible ball and chain hanging below. She decided to do her new favourite activity, watching the dust particles go by in the air and trying to count them all. Every day she counted more and more around her cottage because of the failure of the Pegasus to clean. Failure was a word that she associated herself with a lot now. Failure as a caretaker, failure as a friend, and failure to live a life that was above pitiful and disgusting. But she didn't even notice anymore. Every second she remained in her prison cell felt like hours, and she kept counting each of them down, wondering when she could break free and see the light of the day again. But it seemed impossible at the moment. She took a sip of her black coffee and thought it much too bitter, but despite her feeling towards it, it was the only thing that gave her the energy to get up in the morning and pretend like she wasn't suffering, even if it made her hallucinations worse. She took another sip and glanced around her kitchen, even though she already knew what her puffy red eyes would hover over. A few dirty spoons, forks, and some very sharp knives whose blades made her stare linger, a plate, and a few mugs. She hadn't done the dishes since the last time some pony cared to visit, which had been a few days. She hadn't done much at all for the last few days. She took another cringe sip of her coffee and felt her energy return slightly, but it was only a small comfort for her. She would feel exhausted and worn down by the heavy chains, but it would just be a little easier. There were times when she felt so exhausted and weighed down that all she could do was stay in bed and cry. And that was if Celestia even granted her this sweet comfort. Her eyes fell upon the window next to her door, covered by a set of purple curtains. She couldn't handle it. It would make her sick. The world outside moved so quickly that the inside was her only comfort, where time seemed to move at a snail's pace in contrast. She would take slow and miserable over fast and bright any day or night. She was so deep in thought that she didn't realize her limbs becoming weak from the chains, and she dropped her mug on the floor, making it break and spilling all of its contents. Fluttershy just moved over to the sink to wet a rag robotically, showing no emotion or care. She got back and cleaned up the brown pool that she had created, going slowly and surely to make sure she cleaned it all up. With that done, she moved to clean up the pieces of the mug. She went and got a nearby dustpan, and she used her wing to sweep up the pieces. She squealed a little bit when a sharp pain radiated through her limb, and upon inspection, she could see a small bit of blood coming out of the cut she had accidentally made and dripping on her feathers. After the initial shock, however, she just simply sat back at the table, not bothering to get another cup of coffee or even to clean up her cut. The stinging was numbed by the pain she felt all around her body, especially her eyes that felt like 1,000-pound weights, even though she had just gone through multiple, who knows how many cups of coffee. Suddenly she froze in fright when she turned away and saw a big scary stallion lurking in the shadow corner by her fireplace. She screamed, but she made no sound. She panicked, but she made no movement. A few seconds of paralysis passed before she got up from her chair, which was knocked over as she prepared to take off. But she looked again and couldn't see any other pony. The hulking body she had seen seemed to disappear. The minutes ticked by before she felt it was safe again to pick up her chair and sit back down. The Pegasus figured it was for the best. Flying was 80% psychological, of course. It was also about skill. But Pegasi also have to be confident and happy in order to fly even more successfully, and because of that, Fluttershy hadn't flown in weeks. She forgot the feeling of being free of her chains long ago. She shook her head, still feeling the sting of fear coursing through her, until it returned to dullness once more. Something sparkling caught her eye, and she turned towards a set of silk fibre she had left over from one of her friend's visits. She had laid them out because there was something that fascinated her about the beautiful material, as it was the only thing that could comfort her, like a safe haven that she couldn't explain. It wasn't the beauty at first, just the aesthetic. Most ponies assume silk is incredibly weak and fragile, but what Fluttershy found interesting was that it could hold a lot of weight if needed, possibly even a pony. Then she found herself wondering which colour looked best, but she tried to steer herself away from the question. She knew if she picked a colour she was too far gone, unable to be brought back, even if it would finally release the chains for her. Sighing, she got up, picked up one of the dirty mugs, and filled her mug for the 5th time, maybe 6th, and went to sit at the table, the weight of her heart growing with every minute.